Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. Today with Navasit, and we have some questions ready for you.
Okay, so my question is, what is the true spiritual path? And how do we know that we are on that path?
A true spiritual path is a road that is not straight, but has many bends. So you never really know what happened next. And see, like human beings are generally programmed also that everything should go according to plan. Once you're on a truly spiritual path, things might not go according to plan. So you have maybe a little bit straight road, and then they try to settle down and say, okay, that's it. And then bang, a bend comes and something, when you go around the curve, something completely different is around the curve. As long as you are programmed on outcomes, expectations, it is very difficult to be on a real, true spiritual path, because we are not authentic. Through the programs that we are programmed for generations, it's not just us. We have certain ways of behavior. Like, for example, also, you do not behave in the same way with everybody.
Yes.
You have people that are higher or whatever, more superior than you, that you have to behave in certain ways. And then the lowly people, that you're also supposed to behave in a certain way. But if you're completely authentic, you see the divine being in everybody. And you treat your mate or in the same way as you would treat like whatever other person. Like I catch myself also sometimes that I do behave in different ways. For example, if I have to go to some authorities, like if I have to do something with immigration police or stuff like that, and I hate myself in a way for it, but I don't want to get in any trouble. Because our world is programmed that way. But in generally, I treat people just as human beings, no matter what their status is.
Okay.
And you can tell that it is much more difficult to be on a true spiritual path in countries where people also are very much trained into certain respect, a certain kind of layer of people, Like here, it's like the easiest to explain is maybe the Indian caste system. But most other countries have that caste system in them too. It's just not so obvious. So the first thing is, when you are on a spiritual path, you have to be authentic. You have to bring all these different masks that you have towards different people to one. You bring them together to one, and then you can see the truth, who you really are.
Okay.
This is something which is very difficult to understand, and it has absolutely nothing to do with think pink and positive and thinking, so on. You have to confront everything. It's not about thinking, it's about being. And again, we have talked about heart-brain cells, remember?
Yeah.
So you can say it's much more to be in your heart and to act from your heart-brain cells instead of the duality brain up in your head. The true spiritual path is not an easy one. We have compared New Age. Like what is going on in the New Age in these times is very often, it's practically not really spiritual. Spirituality you cannot really find outside. But of course, the outside also matters. Like, for example, it is easier to meditate in a nice environment, in a comfortable chair or whatever, in a comfortable position, than it is if you have to meditate in situations of stress. But this is exactly what makes the difference. On a spiritual path, you might not have the comfort all the time of a comfortable chair or whatever. The spirituality matters then when you are in situations of stress. How do you react, or do you act? That just reminds me of a book I read about Sufi. I don't remember exactly. I read it many years ago, and you know that Sufi master, you know, the dancing Sufis who go there, yeah. So he was his master sent him out to sit. I think it was in a graveyard or something, to meditate, and at one, oh no, that was a woman actually, and there was even a dog coming and pissed on her. I mean, I was gonna, oh my God, this is really bad. I think I could never do that. But you know, when you look at the situation and the circumstances that was then, it all makes sense. It was a name like Irina Tweedy, something like that. I don't remember. It's really long time ago. It's 40 years ago or something like that when I started to read all these books. And it was very, very powerful, because I was very lucky to have a good teacher in the beginning who was not a New Age teacher at all. So I was kicked out of many New Age groups as too extreme. As a tough cookie, you know, kind of. So here they say, yeah, she's a nice woman, but she is very tough. Be careful. So I really want to be on a true spiritual path and not on this kind of sweet, think, blah, blah, pretending, oh, you're so sweet and all that kind of stuff. I cannot stand it. And you can see that very often in these spiritual circles. When I hug somebody, then I really am there with that person and that moment. And that person also feels it. But when I'm sometimes in those groups, everybody hug everybody, you know, you don't have that feeling that these people really like you. They just hug because they all hug.
I see.
And in these New Age groups, you see very often things like that happen. And I'm not saying that this is something bad. I'm just saying this is not the absolute true spiritual path yet. But to go there, to come to the spiritual path, this is one step of experience. So the New Age, in a way, is important, because it wakes up senses within you that otherwise are dormant. And once these senses are awake and you start to see, then you start also to be able to discriminate what is real and what is not.
Okay.
I said in the beginning that this is a road that has many bends, and it's very often compared with walking up a mountain. It's going a mountain path, like down there in the valleys, the wide path that everybody can walk on it with friends and with, you know, having fun and going and running and doing what you want. But once you start to go up the mountain, in the beginning is also still, maybe it's nice and lush, but the higher up you go, the less people are there.
Yes.
And the more you have to give everything, you know, it's like an effort for your body to go up, to climb up. You also, for example, cannot go with just slippers anymore, whatever. You need a different gear. And this is in a similar way, like um, when you have all the masses together, it's not the same story. And the interesting thing is that many people who are climbing mountain, really going up, they express it as a very spiritual experience. This is where you maybe come to points of exhaustion, that you are challenged to more than in whatever norm, you know, norm A4, A5 life, that you have to get out of that norm to have that experience.
Okay.
So if you look at the whole New Age scene, this is still kind of in the norm. You go like you know, it's similar like you go to church or to temple or whatever, or to the spiritual center on Wednesday evening for meditation. But then you go home into normal life, you go back into that norm. And that is not getting you really anywhere. But of course, again, we have many different people on the planet. Even if they look adult, they might not be on a soul level yet. So we have very young souls, we have middle-aged souls, we have old souls, and according, they act in different ways. So even an old soul, if you're reborn here, you have to kind of go through all the stages one again, like a child that goes to the stages of like learning to walk, learning to talk, first grade and so on, to grown up. But once they're there, they're really grown up. But those who in their soul are still on a childish level with less experience, and I don't mean childish as bad. It's just like they don't have that experience. So they need to go, and they maybe need to be in certain circles for a longer time to see through. But when you have the old souls, they just go bang, 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 and they get it much faster because they remember. And the innate of a soul is with them. You know, we have the innate, the inherited knowledge that is also taking care of our body. We have had past lives. So in a way, we are also our ancestors, and we receive all the knowledge. If we tune in, then we remember. It is also like, I don't know if you had that. When I was traveling sometimes, I had really very vivid recognition. It's like, I know that place. I know that energy of that place, even if it looks different. And okay, I mean, I did regression for many years, and I found usually past lives that I was in this area. Like I'm here, that's why I'm here. Because I had that life and I came back because I promised. So you have these kind of soul contracts, and the more evolved human being is, the more you remember. So the evolution, again, I'm not judging, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's really like that. Younger souls, they need different experience than older souls. And if you really truly want to go in an authentic spiritual experience, if you really want to, you will also find the people who help you there to lead you. You will find an old soul who can give you knowledge. But again, like imagine like you have a kid in the first grade or second grade, and the kid has maybe an older brother who understands certain things and asks questions. Like again, an older brother, sister, whatever it is, on the soul level. Even if the older brother tries to explain, the younger brother might not understand. And then they twist the words around, and that's what we have in all the so-called holy scriptures, because the master was teaching a very powerful truth, for example, and masters usually always use stories, metaphors. But even they have been twisted around because the students, they did not have the same consciousness level as their master. So it was kind of brought down into the understanding of people with lower consciousness level. So, for example, we find in every religion, you find an esoteric and an exoteric part. Generally, we can say that the New Age is not esoteric, really, it's exoteric. Because it is known to everybody. You know, if you go a true spiritual, esoteric, inside path, you cannot really share it.
Just only that person know them. Yeah.
You have to experience it yourself. You know, it's like when you learned astrology. In the first moment, it was just like, oh my God, and knowledge, and you have to get that in your head. But now you have the knowledge in the background, and you experience when you work with people what it really means. That is experience. That is esoteric, and you cannot teach that.
I see.
This is very significant also for the flower essence workshop. You know, you learn first about the flowers, the signatures, similar signatures like astrology, and then you learn to sit and talk to flowers, to understand the flower, to experience the energy of a flower. And most people, even if, say, I have 10 people in a group, every person experiences that a little bit different. So it's a different journey for everybody. And some people, they really can connect to spirit, and through the spirit of the flower, they connect to their own. Then it becomes an esoteric experience. And they cannot share it really. So anything, that's why also when you read stories about masters, they are somewhere outside. They're usually not in a mass place, you know. It's not just some, and usually you go there for a while. You're not going just there for a day or every Wednesday or whatever, every Sunday. You have to commit yourself to that journey. And it's very often like you stay with the master and you study with the master, you experience esoteric information. No, I cannot say information, esoteric experience. It's not information in the head, you know. Information you can share easily, experience you can't.
Yes.
And then the master sends you back and they say, now you go and live. And then the question is, can this, what you have experienced, this very sacred, esoteric knowledge, is it possible that you can live it in your in a normal environment, normal life? And at one point you come to the point that you can't anymore, that you have to go away, that you have to maybe give up what you've done before, that you are that bend in the road. that you cannot go straight ahead anymore. Remember when I talked about in one of the blogs about different the moving now of the consciousness level, when we have the straight line and you go up and then you go up again, and this is that spiritual way. But those who are still on that level and you've gone up and gone up, at one point they cannot reach you anymore. You can still talk to them. You can, like you have members in your family or whatever profession, you can still reach them as a like a normal talk, but this is not where you are anymore. So at one point you have to go. You have to go on your journey, on your own spiritual esoteric journey, to experience the divine within. You can come back, and there are many, even now in this time, especially reincarnated masters who have had mastered this, who have totally connected with divine within, who have agreed to reincarnate to be lighthouses of true spiritual power for the world. Otherwise, we would not have made it through 2012. So see, sometimes it announces it's in a dream that now there is a bend in the road, that something cracks. And this is a very clear sign that something is going to happen in life that will lead you away from your old normal life. And then it needs courage.
Yes, a lot.
It's courage. You know, we are also trained about the money and about everything. Oh my God, how I'm going to survive. Let me give you here one sample of my own life. I was really devastated. I was, you know, when I came to Thailand, it was very difficult for me to survive because everything old, what I still thought that works, didn't work here. And at one point, there was this Vegetarian World Congress that I was participating in, and I was the program coordinator, blah, blah, blah. And this was more or less the time when my mother sent me some money at that time to support me that I can live here. And you can imagine how much that take that I accept that. I used to have my own money, but I lost it. I was cheated with my house. I lost my money. So that's also, you know, you really go into scenarios sometimes that is the worst you expect, but it doesn't have to be, because after that something new comes up. So I was asked to go and teach in Singapore, and I remember I did not have any money, and the whole thing with the vegetarian blah blah blah, I did volunteer. I never was paid, you know. So money went down. So I bought that ticket to Singapore and back, and I had my last more or less 500 baht in my pocket. My credit card was expired. I knew my credit card, and I had to fly there. And I had to check into a guest house, and they wanted my credit card. I still had it. And says, "Oh, lady, that credit card is expired." I knew it, but I tried. I was so devastated. And I had that friend with me, and he said to me, "Oh, no problem. They can use my credit card." And I can, oh my God, thank you. And then I went to this place where I had to work, and it was aircon just right in back of me. And I was really, really kind of afraid. How is this gonna work out? And I called a friend in Malaysia I worked with, and he said, "Come on." I just asked, Session said, soldier on, you're gonna get everything you want. And so I did. I had my free talk in the beginning when it started. And then I had people sign up for readings like crazy.
Wow.
I was working like crazy, and I went home with a lot of money.
Wow.
You cannot imagine. I could live for, I think I had enough money to live here in Thailand for half a year.
Oh, lucky you.
So I was really, I mean, that courage was really kind of, okay, you get it. But I was afraid. I was afraid. I remember
Mhm.
that night I cried in bed and asked, please help me. I don't know how I'm going to survive that.
Uh-huh.
And this was the beginning of, but this long time ago, this more than 20 years ago, I had the beginning of my years that I was teaching abroad. So
Mm.
from this, somebody asked me there, would you also come to Hong Kong, to Malaysia? I even went to Australia. I was 2 months in Alaska, beautiful, making flower essences up there in the mountains, in the glaciers. It was beautiful. I tell you, life was beautiful. But
Mhm.
this was the lesson I had to go through first, to lose everything. And
Mm.
then, and then, you know, this is what it needs, the courage. Okay, I can do it. I can do it. God help me, I can do it.
Mhm.
That is the true spiritual path.
Mm.
And everybody has to go away from the old to step into that complete surrender to the divine guidance.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been always there, still went in and out and in and out, and you know what we call the dark night of the soul. And but you have to face it, you know, because all these old patterns that still are around have to be eliminated. And you
Mm.
still have to be human being, and I am still human being. I'm still making mistakes and that's okay, you know.
Uh-huh.
But once you are connected, really connected to that spirit self, to the divine, which is within you, and you are within it, that again, that's what you cannot explain.
Mm.
The light of life, or God, or whatever you want to call it, is within you. But at the
Mhm.
same time, you are within it, because it is not materially limited.
Mm.
And so as soon as you are still in going in, out, this is not the really the spiritual path. You have still two personalities, the one that is in the church, the one is outside of the church or temple or
Mm.
whatever, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Once you have to make the commitment to follow the spiritual path, you have to face everything and be authentic. But as I said, I still have moments today I'm not. But I don't worry about that so much. So sometimes it's just afterwards you can laugh about, you know, oh my God, I did it again. When
Uh,
you grow up, come on. So, but also, you know, once you're on that spiritual path and the true spiritual path, you're much more happy.
mm. Mhm.
You're more satisfied with life. You're more grateful. You're more connected to everything. And
Mm.
again, it depends your talents that you have. For example, if somebody is a painter or a singer or an architect or whatever it is, they don't vanish. In the contrary, they are being enhanced. Like, for example, an architect who is completely aligned to the divine self can make the most beautiful buildings according to the divine pattern. Like, for example, consider the light. You know, when you build something, look at the light. Look, not just put every tree and everything, cut everything flat and put a move on top of it, but
Mhm.
study the land. Understand where a house or whatever has to be.
Mhm.
And then you will see also that the living in a house like that is something completely different. It really is a home and not a house.
Yes. Mhm.
Enough?
Yes. Yeah. I got it. Mhm.
You have any
Mhm.
other question?
I don't think we have enough. I think we have enough.
Okay, so let's stop for today and then we can see what's come out of this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Navasit, and thank you everybody for watching. Please like and share the video, and I see you next week.
Thank you so much. See you.
Bye bye.